In this lesson, we are going to continue looking at our linear phrases in a 6-deep note pattern form. If linear phrases are new to you, there is a link here with the first lesson that looks at how to apply them to the kit. In this lesson, we are going to be combining the phrases that we previously did. We're going to label them as A, B, and C. A is a sticking of 4 notes, and it consists of 2 on the snare and 2 on the kick drum. So when we say A, we mean this pattern. Pattern B is again a 4-note phrase, but it's 3 notes on the snare and 1 on the bass drum. That's pattern B. Finally, pattern C is a 6-note phrase. It's going to be 4 on the snare drum and 2 on the bass drum. With these 3 patterns, we are now going to create new fills by coming up with different variations of this. So our first example, we're going to play pattern A, pattern B, pattern C, which leaves us with 2 notes left over, which we will then play as a right-left. So the pattern altogether slowly will sound like this. We're going to now apply it to a musical setting. So we're going to play 1 bar of groove and then 1 bar of fill. Once this feels comfortable, we're now going to apply it around the kit. We're going to start off with pattern A, just staying on the snare and kick drum. We're then moving pattern B to the high tom. Pattern C, we're going to split over the mid tom and the floor tom. And then finally, those last 2 6-deep notes which are left, we're just going to play on the floor tom. Slowly, the pattern sounds like this. Again, applied to a musical setting of 1 bar fill, 1 bar groove. Another variation of this pattern, we can then split up our hands. So, for our pattern A, we're going to play one note on the snare, one note on the high tom. Pattern B, we're then going to split it up with two notes on the high tom, one note on the medium tom. Pattern C, we're then going to play snare, high, and then two on the floor tom, leaving us with our last two right lefts on the floor tom. Slowly, this pattern sounds like this. Applied in a musical setting. In exercise 2, we are now going to move our A, B and C around. We're going to start this phrase with our pattern B. Then we're going to have the pattern C, which is the 6-note phrase. We're then going to have pattern A, which is this phrase. And then finally leaving us with two 16th notes with a right left. So the pattern altogether sounds like this. Once this feels comfortable, then apply it to a musical setting, 1-bar groove, 1-bar fill. The next stage, like the previous example, is to start moving it around the kit. So we're going to have B that stays on the snare. We're then going to have C that goes across the high tom and the mid tom. A, which will be on the floor tom. And then finally those two 16th notes with a right left on the floor tom. Slowly will sound like this. Finally, we can then start splitting up our hands. So, example with the letter B, we're going to play. Then we're going to have our letter C, which we will then follow with. And then we've got our letter A, which we will then stay on the floor tom. And then we've got those 2/16 on the floor tom. So this will now sound like this. Our final example, example 3, we are now going to start with the pattern C. So that's the 6-note pattern. Then we're going to play pattern A. And then finally pattern B with again the last 2/16 notes. This pattern will now sound like this. We're now going to move this around the kit. So our pattern C, we're going to play. Our pattern A will be. Our pattern B will be. And then finally 2 notes. So the pattern will sound like this.